What's up guys, this is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we're going to be doing a comparison video between two of the best guns that I've ever owned. First I want to mention my Patreon supporters. I really appreciate you guys, and I just wanted to mention that we have a giveaway every month, and this month's going to be the Magpul PRS stock. If you want to join, all you got to do is be a Patreon supporter. Again, thank you very much, you keep this channel going. And I also want to mention ammo.com, they're another supporter of my channel. I leave a link in the description below that will bring you right to the web page for $20 off an order of $200. So if you want to buy some ammo to feed your STI or your CZ pistols, you can buy it there and help out my channel at the same time. Getting back to the review, these two guns are excellent. If you're looking at this review because you're wondering if you should buy either one of these two guns, most likely you've already thought it over and there is nothing but great things for the most part. There's a couple of bad things to maybe sway a person to either one of these firearms, but if you're dead set on each one of them and you want to know if you should buy it, you should probably buy it. These pistols are designed for competition only. Now they could sway into home defense a little bit, but there are many better options, and as far as concealed carry goes, both are big and very cumbersome and heavy, and I think they would not be good options. Could you do it? Yes, theoretically, but they're really specifically designed for competition. Now both of these pistols are more commonly chambered in .40 caliber to make major power factor. I have both a mine and 9mm because I don't mind hitting those A's, and I don't shoot limited very much, if at all. I usually shoot production with my CZ Shadow. These two pistols I basically bought for fun, but I am a fairly experienced shooter and I do have tons and tons of rounds through them. So I'll give you an idea about which one of these two pistols I think is maybe not best, but maybe right for you. So let's get into reliability. We'll go down the categories here, and then at the end of it, I'll give you my opinion. So the first category is going to be reliability, and in between these two, they're both very good, but one is better. Now, I think the CZ Orange is more reliable than the STI Apiero or any STI 2011 that I have owned or fired or seen fired. CZ pistols have been incredibly reliable for me in a wide range of ammunition, including in this pistol in particular. I have fired 60 grain Polytech frangible ammunition. This gun fires it no problem. It'll fire 115 remanufactured Freedom munitions, Nevada ammo, stuff with hard primers, Phoenix ammo, all the reloaded ammo, cheap ammo that I've ever bought, plus the custom reloads that I get. This gun will fire. It will also fire, Hydra shocks. It'll fire critical defense, any of the higher tier fence ammo that you'd want to get as well, buffalo bore. It'll handle them all just fine. I have fired 3,000 rounds maybe through this gun, and it has had very little malfunctions. I want to say maybe one or two, and you'd have to attribute at least that to ammo. It does have some deficiencies, but reliability is not one of them. The CZ Tactical Sport Orange is phenomenally reliable. Now, the STI Apiero is also very reliable. However, not as reliable as the CZ. I would say 99.5% maybe one malfunction every 250 rounds, and that's not bad for a competition gun, especially considering I don't have this perfectly tuned to my ammunition. If I did, maybe it would be different, but I would say that I have about a stovepipe or something like that once every 200, 300 rounds. Now that's again not bad, but nothing compared to a one malfunction for every 1,500 rounds for the CZ Orange. So if you're looking for stone cold reliability, never have to worry at all. When you pull it out of the holster, it's going to go. I think the CZ has a bit of an edge over the STI. As far as accuracy goes, it's pretty much a wash, again, along with a lot of these categories, but I would have to give a slight edge to the STI. I really would. I think in my hands, they're both equally as accurate, but I shoot CZ as well, and I think the STI has slightly better ergonomics and a slightly better trigger right out of the box. I think most 2011s are going to have a slightly better trigger. That straight back, like 1.5 pound pull versus the, now I know this is a minuscule difference, but they're all going to be, versus the Fulcrum 1.5 to 2 pound pull of the CZ. So I think the trigger is just a little bit better, but all in all, that's really up to the shooter. Either one of these guns is not going to make much of a difference. It's all a matter of what feels right to you. But for me personally, I think I can shoot slightly more accurate with the STI Apiero. Now we'll get into looks, because looks matter, and I would have to say that is pretty subjective, because I think they're both great looking pistols. I think you can get better looking grips. That is one con of my STI Apiero. Apero is that it does have probably the ugliest grips on planet Earth, but you can get very good looking grips, and the slide itself is very good looking, and I think overall the STI Apero is an excellent looking gun. It looks very unique with that island barrel and those saber cuts. The CZ Orange is also a very unique looking gun. However, I do think the STI is a little bit better looking. I think this is where they're gonna part ways just a little bit, is gonna be in ergonomics. Now, I think the STI is just a little bit better, and I think one of the reasons is because they just put more money into it and it's a little bit more customizable. I think that you can change the grips as you want, the triggers as you want. You can get a longer or shorter trigger, which is a big deal for a lot of people. You can't change that with the CZ. You can get all kinds of mag releases. I'm not sure about the CZ, and just every single part from the ground up, you could change the grip. You can get the slide milled. You can do whatever you want on a 2011 pistol. Now, for the STI stock, I still think it is a little bit better ergonomically. I think it actually has a little bit less recoil, and I think the controls are smoother, and I think they are a little easier to use, especially the magazine well, as you can see here, is extremely easy to reload on the 2011. As you can see, it's perfectly beveled in every direction, no way to mess up that reload. Whereas one of the big cons of the CZ is that magwell might as well not even be there because it's not contoured. You can see that there's a big ridge there. So the magwell to me is almost pointless because you still have to be fairly accurate in where you're putting those magazine changes. However, not a huge deal, but that is a knock on the ergonomics of this pistol. Also, the ambi slide release on the CZ Orange is a little bit sharp. Actually, mine had to be just filed down just a little bit because I ride so high on the firearms that I was actually catching my hand a little bit, and that was a downside. Another downside is that it doesn't have a really good thumb ramp for me, even though it came with this gas pedal, but this gas pedal is so short for my long thumbs that it's just very, very uncomfortable to use, so I ran it off most of the time. I just have it on there just to show it off on the video. So I like the CZ ergonomics, but I like the 2011 ergonomics a little bit better. Now, the grip, you can get very high in the CZ on the back end. However, on the fore end, since it has that double action trigger design from the other CZ, this is a single action, but it has a double action trigger design. And this huge trigger guard that you see here, it is a little bit lower on the front, which kind of forces you to go down just a little bit, whereas the 2011, you can really choke up high and get your hand more of a natural grip on it as opposed to a kind of a canted grip. Now, I know again we're splitting hairs there, but the 2011 feels a little bit better, lower recoil impulse, and the controls are a little bit smoother. So for the ergonomics category, I'm going to have to give it to the STI. Now, shootability, as I mentioned before, I think it's just a hair more accurate. I think it's got a hair less recoil, and I think it reloads a little bit better. So as far as overall performance, I would give this a 99.5%, that 100%. But now we'll get into price. That's the big deal. Overall, I would have to say that not only price for the total gun, but before we get into price for the total gun, I want to talk about price of accessories. The magazines for the CZ Orange, which you're going to need a lot if you're going to be a competitor, or even if you're going to plink, you're probably going to need at least, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, something like that. These are a lot cheaper. I think you can get these for around 40 bucks, somewhere in there, whereas this particular magazine that you see in front of you right here was $130. Times that by 6, okay? Now you got somewhere in the area 780 bucks full of magazines by the time you're done with this. Add that to the $2,200 to $2,700 price tag of the STI Apero. Now you're really talking. You're talking $3,000 some dollars without any accessories at all, just the magazines and the gun. This particular gun here you can get for somewhere around $1,500. Add $240 worth of magazines to it, and you're under 2,000 bucks. So over $1,000 less for the CZ Orange. Not to mention what came in the box for the CZ Orange. It came with an entire kit of stuff that you can use, plus 3 magazines already, so you only have to buy 3 more. Whereas the STI Apero, when I bought it, came with 1 magazine. So the downside of the STI, the big downside is price. It's a huge investment to get into something like this. Whereas the CZ Orange performs maybe 0.5% less. and you can get into it for $1,000 to up to $1,500 less. Now, another big benefit of the CZ Orange is that 2011s, for the most part, are not allowed in production division. So I shoot a CZ Shadow in production division, and then you can shoot this CZ Tactical Sport Orange in 3-gun, let's say, or you can shoot it in limited, especially if you got it in 40 caliber. Now, I think that transfers a great deal. However, you could go the opposite end, and you could shoot a single stack 1911, and then you could shoot a double stack 1911 for open or limited division, whatever you'd want to do. So both of them transfer. It's just a matter of taste and preferences. A great shooter that shoots 1911s and 2011s really well will beat the crap out of the Orange with an average shooter, and vice versa. You know, if you had Angus in here and he was shooting this CZ versus me with this STI, he'd blow me out of the water. So what I want to try to say is I wanted to give you the pros and cons so you could make your own personal choice and not think of it as one is really better than the other. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.